The leaks for Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 251 have recently dropped, and it looks like we have another banger in our hands. As always, thanks to Miyamura for giving us the scans, and let's just get straight into it. So the chapter starts right from where we left off last week. Yuta uses cleave on Sukuna, which actually does some real damage. One of the issues a lot of people were having with the fight against Sukuna is that he wasn't really taking much damage, but that doesn't appear to be the case anymore, especially with what happens later in the chapter. After Sukuna gets hit by cleave, we get the revelation that the reason as to why Yuta can use cleave is because the main cast was in possession of Sukuna's last finger. I'm guessing Yuta probably had Rika eat the finger. I'm not really sure exactly, but I am glad we finally got that question answered. In classic JJK fashion, we get one of the most insane jumpings we've seen in a long time. Yuji and Yuta start to combo the fuck out of Sukuna, and remember, with every punch Yuji lands, the weaker Sukuna gets, and the weaker his hold on Megumi's body gets as well. But yeah, these panels of Yuji just cooking Sukuna are honestly great to see. They look straight out of Baki with the way Sukuna's blood is just spilling everywhere. And Yuta, he's also putting some work in. Kinda like last chapter, Sukuna once again grabs Yuji and is about to kill him with the slashes, but Yuta saves Yuji yet again and gives Sukuna an uppercut. Rika comes into the frame as well, and at this point, Sukuna is just straight up getting destroyed. It's very reminiscent of when Yuji and Nanami jumped Maito all the way back in season 1, and Sukuna's taking some insane damage. All that damage starts to build up, and suddenly, it seems like Sukuna starts to struggle with maintaining Holouka Basket. However, at the same time, Sukuna puts down Holouka Basket and tries to get the world cutting slash off, but right as he's about to do the hand signs for it, he's interrupted by Yuji and Yuta. The two of them basically have to now put on the pressure without slowing down at all, because if they give Sukuna the time to use the world slash, they are finished. Though it isn't all bad, because Sukuna's cursed energy output is so low right now, it also means Yuta and Yuji can be more careless and more on the offensive since they know they can survive his slashes. This is a horrible situation for Sukuna because essentially the weaker he gets, the stronger Yuji and Yuta become, so he continues to take damage. Sukuna's hands start to twitch and his hold gets weaker, and again, Yuta, Rika and Yuji just continue to put on the pressure non-stop. Yuta also uses cleave for a second time, which creates an opening, then some of Yuji's blood gets near Sukuna and to his surprise, it explodes. We get the reveal that Yuji used Supernova, which is basically confirmation that Choso did train Yuji over the time skip, and now Yuji can use blood manipulation, which is pretty crazy. We then get a small flashback to the main cast having a discussion before the fight. Yuki's notes state that two souls can never actually become one, which is the reason for their plan to split Sukuna and Megumi souls. It's nice to see Yuki get mentioned and play somewhat of a role in the defeat of Sukuna. I actually made a video on this recently, but pretty much, despite not being there in person, Yuki's efforts are a large reason as to why Sukuna is likely going to end up defeated, and her discovery of the soul is just more evidence of that. Back to the fight, with Sukuna's vision messed up and the increasing damage taken, it's at this point where finally, Sukuna can no longer hold up Holouka Basket. He has his hands grabbed by Yuta and Rika and gets hit by Jacob's ladder. And I'm not gonna lie, when I was first reading this, I really thought it might be over for my boy Sukuna. I mean, he almost got killed by the same attack when he first took Megumi's body and was at full power. So taking a Jacob's ladder to the face while already being at 1 HP is pretty crazy. Yuji uses this opening to once again land another soul punch on Sukuna, but this time, we actually get to see Megumi within Sukuna, which I guess does confirm that Megumi is still alive. Me personally, I never thought that he was actually dead, but I do know some people who are pretty worried, so yeah, that is that. Though with Megumi, there's an issue. Before I get into it, translations aren't fully out yet, so I'm not 100% sure as to what's happening, but if I had to guess, it seems Megumi is basically rejecting Yuji. This probably has to do with how much Sukuna has synced his soul, which pretty much mean Yuji's efforts to reach Megumi all this time turn out to be in vain, since Megumi has basically lost the will to live. But again, I'm not completely sure since we don't really have the full translation right now. Anyways, as a result, this causes a single moment of hesitation, which gives Sukuna the opportunity to make a generational comeback. He simultaneously slashes Yuta, Yuji, and Rika. He does so using the world slash, which means all three of them take insane damage. Then after this, it looks like Yuta's domain collapses from the damage he's taken, and our main cast looks pretty cooked. Out of nowhere, Maki Zenin appears right behind Sukuna and manages to stab him with a soul-splitting katana. This panel looks extremely similar to when Toji sneaked up on Teen Gojo, like with the same layout and expressions, which is crazy. The chapter concludes with Sukuna smirking while looking at Maki, and it looks like his RCC output is definitely increasing since the damage he took earlier from the punches and Jacob's ladder isn't as noticeable anymore. Anyways, this was another banger of a chapter. I'm kinda bummed out we still haven't seen Hakari, like it's been months. Though regarding what actually happened this chapter, Maki is finally stepping up to join the fight. After all these memes and agenda about how Maki was gonna sit this one out, it's like she heard everyone and just wants to prove them wrong, because that entrance was generational. Now, we know she was kind of like a contingency plan, so yeah, I guess it does make sense as to why she wasn't fighting until now. Also, this is a bit of headcanon, but I also think since Maki is the only character of the main cast without reverse curse technique, it was honestly better for her to just wait it out until Sukuna and his slashes were weakened. Like, I know Maki has regeneration, but let's be honest guys, that is nowhere near actual RCT and probably wouldn't be effective enough when fighting Sukuna. Next chapter, she's probably going to get some insane feats, which I'm super excited about, but I do think overall, this chapter benefited Sukuna the most. Yuji and Yuta essentially lost their biggest straw at taking him down, and it does look like Sukuna now has his 2 other arms back. So even though he has another opponent to face in Maki, things do seem to be in his favor. As for the main cast, it also helps that Maki can do attacks to Sukuna's soul. His soul was already pretty weakened because of Yuji's hits, so she should be able to do some pretty good damage. I mean, she already landed a significant strike at the end of the chapter, but Sukuna doesn't seem to have taken that much damage since he is smiling. So yeah, we'll just have to see. Another thing to mention is that it looks like we are finally about to get one of the most highly debated questions in Jujutsu Kaisen answered. And by that, I'm referring to whether or not soul damage can actually be healed through RCT. We know soul manipulation, like in Mahito's case, can't be healed, but when it comes to basic damage taken towards the soul, we actually don't really know. So we're probably going to get that answer very soon. As a Sukuna fan myself, I'm honestly enjoying the fact that he's been getting pushed to the extreme lately. I know a lot of people were afraid that after Gojo's death, the main cast didn't have any legit way to take down Sukuna, which would lead to his defeat feeling like an arsepool, but that isn't the case. The way Gege has structured this fight, up to where we are, has made it feel pretty consistent with what's been previously established. Like, it's not as if Gege has been making Sukuna weaker through the plot. The reason Sukuna is so nerfed makes complete sense, and last week we even got confirmation that had Sukuna been at full output, Yuji and Yuta would both be dead. Last thing I want to talk about regarding next chapter is the stuff happening with Hakari and uraume. Since we ended on the cliffhanger this week, next chapter will probably be a POV switch. I've seen people say Maki was gonna 2v1 uraume with Hakari, but since she's here now, it looks like that isn't the case, so that isn't completely out of the picture. If Maki and Hakari did defeat uraume, it's weird that Maki is the only one that showed up. That could all boil down to her being faster than Hakari, and therefore reaching the battlefield faster, which is definitely a possibility. With all that in mind, this was another great chapter, and Gege cooked as always. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, as that will help me a ton. Also, comment down below your thoughts on the chapter and your predictions regarding what's gonna happen next. Other than that though, peace.